She's Queen Consort. She has access to the crown jewels. But there's one collection Camilla has never dared to touch: Diana's. For years, people wondered why. Was it guilt? Fear? A hidden royal rule? Now, palace insiders are revealing the truth, and it's more personal than anyone imagined. From emerald chokers to sapphire rings, Diana's pieces remain untouched. Not by accident, but by choice. Camilla's silence on the matter has spoken volumes. But now, we finally understand what's behind it. This isn't just about jewelry. It's about legacy, rivalry, and the ghosts that still haunt the palace. And once you know, you can't unsee it. The tiara that sparked a storm. It started with a rumor and ended in a royal storm. Princess Charlotte, just 8 years old, is set to inherit one of the most iconic pieces in British royal history: the Spencer tiara. The same tiara Diana wore on her wedding day. A crown that symbolized innocence, hope, and, in the end, heartbreak. But when Camilla reportedly found out about this decision, the reaction inside Buckingham Palace was explosive. According to palace insiders, Camilla's response was so uncharacteristic, staff were left stunned. One aide claimed she raised her voice in private, questioning how a piece of history tied to the monarchy could bypass her entirely. The reality? The tiara never belonged to the monarchy. It belongs to Diana's family, the Spencers, and they've made it clear. It's going to Diana's granddaughter, not the Queen Consort. So why did Camilla care? Some suggest it wasn't about the diamonds. It was about what they represent. A future where Diana's memory lives on through Charlotte, while Camilla remains tied to a painful past. Others say it hit a nerve, a symbol of a battle she thought she'd already won. After years of slowly gaining public acceptance, this gesture reminded everyone, Diana's legacy isn't just intact, it's growing. This wasn't about jewelry, it was about history, and who gets to write it next. But to understand why this tiara holds so much weight, and why Camilla reacted the way she did, we need to look at the woman who first wore it. Diana's presence may be gone, but her shadow still falls across every room Camilla enters. Diana's legacy. It's been over 25 years since Princess Diana died. Yet, somehow, her legacy only grows stronger. In public memory, she isn't just a royal figure. She's a symbol, a cultural icon, a woman turned myth. Polls consistently show Diana remains more beloved than any living royal, including her sons. Camilla, despite decades of public appearances and carefully managed PR, still sits in Diana's shadow. Every time Camilla walks into a royal event, comparisons begin. She's not Diana. She'll never be Diana. The comments are cruel but consistent, and behind the walls of Clarence House, Camilla reportedly feels it. According to one source, she knows she'll never be loved the way Diana was. That's not paranoia. That's reality. Diana's legacy isn't just about her charity work or tragic death. It's also about symbolism, and no symbol is more powerful than her jewelry. Every piece Diana wore was like a statement, a silent message to the world. Whether it was defiance, elegance, or independence, she made it mean something. And people haven't forgotten. That's why Camilla's connection to those same jewels has always been controversial. She doesn't just wear them, she inherits their weight, a weight that can't be lifted with public smiles or polished pearls. You can inherit a title, but love? That's earned. And Diana earned it in ways Camilla never could. But this isn't just about the women themselves, it's about what they wore and why. Diana's jewelry wasn't just beautiful, it was personal. And when Camilla started wearing or changing those pieces, the reaction was immediate. The jewelry that tells a story. Diana's jewels told the story she couldn't always say out loud. There was the sapphire and pearl choker she wore in Australia, a piece she famously turned into a bold statement during a rocky period in her marriage. or the oversized sapphire ring, now worn by Kate, that symbolized both love and loss. Diana didn't just wear jewelry, she wore emotion, and every piece had meaning. Camilla has access to many of these royal heirlooms, and while she's careful with most of them, there's one move she made that sparked global outrage when she wore Diana's emerald choker, but as a brooch. It was the same emerald piece first gifted by the Queen Mother to Diana, a necklace that Diana adored, and one the public had emotionally tied to her image. When Camilla altered it, the reaction was instant. Tone-deaf, cruel, erasing history. Those were just a few of the headlines. Royal jewelry historians even criticized the choice, calling it unnecessary and symbolic rewriting. Some say it was just a stylistic decision. Others think it was deliberate, a power play, a subtle move to reframe Diana's narrative through fashion. Because in the monarchy, style is never just style. Every detail is strategy. And the message it sent? This was hers, now it's mine. In royalty, the jewelry doesn't just sparkle, it speaks, and this time, it screamed. And when the public heard what Camilla had done, the reaction wasn't just loud, it was personal. Because, to many, Diana's memory isn't up for reinterpretation. And Camilla, once again, found herself in a storm she couldn't control. The public backlash. Camilla can't escape. Every time Camilla so much as brushes against Diana's legacy, the world takes notice, and not in a good way. When Camilla steps out in public, every accessory is analyzed. Every brooch, every bracelet, every necklace, especially if it once belonged to Diana. And when one of those pieces appears on Camilla's chest or pinned to her dress, it's as if the public memory of Diana rises from the ashes to demand answers. Take the emerald brooch. After she wore it, headlines screamed, "Disrespect! Royal erasure! Not your crown!" Social media exploded. Not. My Queen trended for days, with thousands of users calling Camilla tone-deaf, calculating, and obsessed with rewriting the past. Even small details spark outrage. At one state event, Camilla wore a sapphire bracelet that looked remarkably like one of Diana's. Was it the same one? Jewelry experts debated. The palace, of course, stayed silent. But it didn't matter. The court of public opinion had made its ruling. Camilla was stepping into a ghost's closet and trying to wear it as her own. The problem? Diana isn't just a memory. She's an emotion, a living legend. And for the public, especially older generations who lived through her heartbreak, Camilla still represents the other woman. Fair or not, that label has never left her. And now, every jewel becomes a battlefield. Not because of its sparkle, but because of its symbolism. To many, it's not just disrespectful. It's a reminder of pain. A reminder that Diana's story wasn't fiction. It was tragedy. And Camilla, no matter how she's rebranded, was always a part of it. You can wear the jewels, but you can't wear the love. But while the public lashes out with hashtags and headlines, there's another force quietly holding the line. Diana's family. The Spencers. And their silence? It may be the loudest message of all. The Spencer family's silent stand. While Buckingham Palace makes public statements and Camilla faces media storms, one group has chosen silence. Diana's own family. But that silence isn't surrender. It's a form of protection, one that speaks louder than any royal decree. The Spencer tiara, worn by Diana on her wedding day, isn't owned by the crown. It never was. It belongs to the Spencer family, an ancient aristocratic line with deep roots in British history, and even deeper loyalties to Diana's memory. Insiders say Earl Spencer has refused to release the tiara to royal control, not to the royal vault, not to Camilla, not even to King Charles. His reason? To ensure that when the time comes, the tiara goes to Princess Charlotte, a direct, unbreakable line from Diana to her granddaughter. Behind closed doors, it's been reported that Charles has met with Earl Spencer several times over the years. Polite conversations, careful language, but no change of heart. The Spencer family is said to have drawn a line. Diana's legacy is not the monarchy's to control. Even more telling, William is said to be in full support. He's attended multiple private meetings with his uncle, strengthening a bond that has only deepened since his mother's death. One source said, William wants Charlotte to know who her grandmother really was, not the royal title, but the woman. To the Spencers, the tiara isn't just a crown, it's a shield, a way of preserving something real in a world of image and protocol. And they're not giving it up. The crown may have power, but the Spencers have the memory and the tiara. And while the Spencers defend Diana's legacy through quiet resistance, Camilla made a bold and controversial move of her own, one that reignited decades of pain and turned fashion into fury. Camilla's altered necklace. It happened in 2022, a royal gala, dozens of cameras, a sea of diamonds and tiaras, but all eyes landed on one item, Camilla's emerald brooch. Why? Because it wasn't always a brooch. It was once a choker, Diana's choker. This necklace was no ordinary piece. It was a gift from the Queen Mother herself, a family heirloom, passed to Diana as a gesture of trust. Diana wore it often, bold, bright, wrapped high on her neck, especially in the years when. She started stepping out from Charles's shadow. It was a power piece, a rebellion in gems, and then Camilla turned it into a brooch. Jewelry historians were shocked. This was a significant alteration, one expert said. It wasn't practical, it was political. The symbolism hit instantly, taking Diana's choker, an item that represented strength and independence, and pinning it low, silent, fixed in place. Some called it a metaphor in gemstones. The public didn't hold back. Royal forums lit up. Commentators accused Camilla of rebranding Diana's strength into something passive. Was it coincidence? Maybe. But in a world where every move is calculated, few believe it was an accident. Camilla's defenders argue she had every right. The piece was part of the royal collection. It belonged to the family, not to any one person. But critics weren't convinced. It may have been legal, one wrote, but it wasn't moral. And even more curious, Camilla has never worn it again, not in public, not even at private family events. Was the backlash too strong, or was the message already delivered? Jewels can shine, or they can cut. This one did both. But long before the jewels were worn, before the titles were crowned, there was a moment, a lunch, that many believe revealed everything. A quiet meeting between Diana and Camilla. That changed the course of royal history forever. The lunch that changed everything. It was supposed to be a friendly gesture, a quiet lunch. No press, no protocol, just two women sitting down in private. Camilla had extended the invitation before the royal wedding. Diana accepted, perhaps out of politeness, perhaps out of curiosity. But what happened at that table would become a moment Diana never forgot. The palace presented it as a goodwill meeting, one future Queen Consort welcoming the incoming Princess of Wales. But Diana later revealed the truth in her own words. She wasn't being kind. She was sizing me up. They met at a private residence. Staff were instructed to keep the conversation confidential. But Diana, in interviews years later, recalled it with painful clarity. They spoke about horses, about country life. Then Camilla turned the conversation to hunting, a subject Diana was known to dislike. When Diana declined an invitation to join a future hunt, she noted a visible shift in Camilla's expression. A small smile, a moment of relief. That's when Diana said it hit her. She didn't want me there, not in the countryside, not in Charles's circle. That's when I knew there were three of us in this marriage. What was meant to be a friendly meeting revealed a rivalry in the making, not in loud words but in quiet implications. Camilla's comfort in Charles's world, Diana's growing sense of exclusion. It was the beginning of a triangle that would torment them both and divide a nation. Years later, royal watchers still revisit that lunch. Some call it the moment Diana truly understood her position. Others say it was Camilla making a power play. But whatever the truth, the emotional residue of that meeting has never washed away. It wasn't just tea. It was a declaration, not in words, but in intention. And while that lunch exposed the cracks in the royal love story, a different kind of legacy was passed years later, through a single sparkling ring. A ring that once symbolized heartbreak. And now, hope. Diana's engagement ring. When Prince William proposed to Kate Middleton in 2010, he didn't go to a jeweler or design something new. He went into history, into pain, into memory. He gave her his mother's ring. The world gasped. The same deep blue sapphire, surrounded by 14 solitaire diamonds, that Diana had worn when she stepped into royal life. It was back, and it was now on the hand of a woman the world would soon embrace as Queen-in-Waiting. William's explanation was simple, but powerful. This was my way of keeping my mother close to it all. But make no mistake, this was a bold move. That ring wasn't just jewelry. It was a relic. It carried every smile, every tear, every betrayal Diana endured. And now, it would crown a new chapter. The public embraced it instantly. Photos of Kate's hand wearing the ring were splashed across global media. The symbolism was thick. Diana's spirit wasn't just remembered, it was carried forward. Through her son, through Kate, through the future. But one person stayed visibly silent. Camilla. She didn't comment, didn't appear in photos featuring the ring, didn't publicly congratulate the symbolic gesture. Some say it was out of respect. Others say it was out of discomfort. That ring was, after all, a reminder of a marriage that ended in sorrow. A marriage Camilla had been part of. Quietly, then not so quietly. Many asked, why didn't Camilla ever wear it? Was she ever offered any? Of Diana's jewelry? Palace insiders say no, that certain pieces were earmarked for Diana's sons from the very beginning. But the deeper question lingered. Would Camilla have even wanted it? Perhaps she knew. You can't wear a ring that belonged to a ghost. The ring passed from heartbreak to hope. From the woman who was broken to the woman who would build. But while jewelry passed between generations, so did something far more powerful, a legacy. And now a child is stepping into the spotlight, carrying Diana's name in her bones, and perhaps her crown in the future. Charlotte's role in the new royal era. She's only 8 years old, but Princess Charlotte has already become one of the most watched young royals in the world. And now, with the Spencer tiara reportedly earmarked for her, Charlotte may also become the living link between Diana's past and the monarchy's future. Charlotte is said to be confident, charismatic, and cheekily composed, as William once described her. But what fascinates the public is something far more subtle: the resemblance. The way she waves, the way she tilts her head in photos, even the way she holds flowers, reminders of Diana in every frame. Royal watchers call her Diana's spiritual granddaughter. And now, with the tiara expected to rest on her head when she comes of age, the symbolism is overwhelming. The daughter of the woman who wears Diana's ring, now wearing Diana's crown. The story continues. Behind the scenes, sources say Charlotte has already shown interest in royal history. She reportedly asks about her grandmother often. At home, photos of Diana are displayed prominently. William is said to speak openly with his children about the woman the world once called the people's princess. But to Charlotte, she's just Grandma Diana. Camilla, meanwhile, is said to be uneasy with the growing focus on Charlotte's connection to Diana. Some insiders believe it's not jealousy, but fear. Fear of being outloved, outshined, and outlasted by a legacy that won't die. Not through scandal, not through time, and certainly not through silence. Charlotte doesn't have to fight for Diana's memory. She embodies it. and in doing so, she may carry a kind of soft power that no throne can command. They took away Diana's title, but they never took her legacy, and now it lives in Charlotte's eyes. But even as the monarchy carefully crafts its next generation, the tension remains, because beneath every jewel, every title, every smile, lies a crown that isn't just ceremonial, it's contested. And at the heart of that contest, the consort, the crown, and a conflict no tiara can hide. The crown, the consort, and the conflict. When Queen Elizabeth passed, she left behind not just a throne, but a complicated chessboard. Every move now carries weight, and one of her final wishes was quietly telling. Camilla would be known as Queen Consort, not simply Queen. Some royal insiders saw this as a simple tradition. Others, a subtle snub, a signal that while Camilla may stand beside the king, she would never fully wear the crown alone. Her title would be forever marked by its origin, through marriage, not through legacy. Compare that to Catherine, the Princess of Wales, rising steadily, beloved by the public, seen as the perfect embodiment of modern royalty, poised, compassionate, quietly powerful. While Camilla climbed slowly over decades, Catherine seemed to ascend effortlessly. Now, the public speaks loudly. Polls show Catherine as the people's choice for queen-in-waiting, with Camilla's approval still fragile. Even small gestures, who rides in the first carriage, who receives the loudest cheer, are closely watched, and the family knows it. Inside royal circles, Camilla's team is reportedly growing nervous. As Charlotte's star rises and Catherine steps into more visible leadership, Camilla's window of influence narrows. She's queen in name, but not always in presence. Some insiders suggest this growing pressure is why Camilla has distanced herself from Diana's jewels, especially high-visibility ones, because to wear them would be to invite comparisons she can't win, and perhaps to confront a past that the monarchy still hasn't fully healed. She wears the crown, but it's the memory of another woman the people still bow to. But while public perception plays out in grand halls and royal processions, there's a deeper truth behind all of this. What happens when tradition collides with grief? When inheritance isn't about diamonds, but about emotion. Royal tradition versus emotional reality. In the royal family, nothing is just tradition. Not the curtains, not the dress code, and especially not the jewelry. Every piece has a history. Every item carries meaning. That's why Diana's collection remains so delicate. Because it isn't just about gold and stones, it's about what they represent. Love, betrayal, strength, rebellion. Some believe Camilla avoids Diana's pieces not out of disrespect, but out of something far more personal. Guilt, or maybe fear, that no matter how carefully she smiles, no matter how graciously she moves, the public will always see her as the woman who stood in Diana's shadow. That's why certain pieces have never been worn by Camilla. Not because she wasn't allowed, but because she simply couldn't. The emotional weight was too much, the optics too sharp. She knew what those jewels meant to the world, and perhaps what they meant to her, privately. There are moments, too, when silence says more than sparkle. Camilla has never spoken publicly about how Diana's memory shapes her relationship with the public. But those who know her say she is acutely aware of the emotions surrounding every pearl and pendant. She has chosen to forge her own identity, quietly, cautiously. Still, there's another side. Critics argue that by avoiding Diana's legacy, Camilla also avoids accountability. That the jewelry isn't just emotional, it's unfinished history. And in a family built on public symbolism, avoiding that symbolism may seem like avoidance of truth itself. Some wear history, others inherit it. But in this family, history always comes back, especially if it shines. But where Camilla steps lightly, Catherine steps boldly. And now, the woman once called Kate has become the guardian of a legacy she never knew, yet carries with dignity and strength. Catherine's role in the jewelry legacy. Catherine didn't just marry into royalty. She stepped into a story halfway told and picked up where Diana left off. From her very first public appearance wearing Diana's sapphire engagement ring, it was clear. Kate wasn't afraid of the legacy. She embraced it, wore it, wove it into her own story. And the public didn't resist. They welcomed her with open arms. Over the years, Catherine has worn several of Diana's pieces. Her sapphire earrings, her iconic blue suit silhouettes, even similar hairstyles on key occasions. But none of it feels performative. It feels intentional. A tribute, not a takeover. At remembrance events, Catherine has worn Diana's pearl choker with quiet grace. At charity galas, she's matched Diana's classic elegance with modern warmth. Even her posture evokes the late princess's quiet strength. The effect is clear. She is honoring the past while building a new future. Critics have nothing to latch onto. There's no rivalry, no scandal, just a woman respecting another. And that's what makes it powerful. Catherine hasn't tried to replace Diana. She's preserved her. She's become a bridge between what was and what will be. And now, as Princess Charlotte steps into view, that bridge may stretch into a third generation. Diana's legacy isn't just surviving, it's thriving. Catherine didn't claim the crown. She earned the public's trust, and with it, the jewels of a legend. But with all the speculation, with all the photos and pearls and pageantry, one question still remains. Why doesn't Camilla wear Diana's jewelry? The answer might be more complicated and more human than we ever expected. The truth about Camilla's choice. So why doesn't Camilla wear Diana's jewelry? The tabloids guess, the experts speculate, but those closest to her say the answer might not be about strategy or optics. It might be about emotion. Some believe it's fear. Camilla knows the backlash would be swift, unforgiving. One necklace could ignite a storm of headlines, hate mail, and hashtags. And in today's world, no royal can afford that kind of fire. Others suggest it's discomfort. That each item Diana once wore isn't just beautiful. It's haunting. A reminder of a time Camilla lived through, but never controlled. A reminder of the woman the world adored and mourned. And then, there are those who say it's respect. Quiet, personal, unspoken. That Camilla made a choice years ago to not wear what wasn't given, to not step into a role that wasn't hers to claim. One royal biographer said, Camilla never wanted to become Diana. She just wanted to survive being compared to her. There's also a darker theory, that power, not respect, dictated everything. That Diana's sons retained control over her pieces, that the Spencer family still holds others. And Camilla, for all her titles, was never invited to share them. Whatever the truth is, one fact remains. The jewels weren't just left behind, they were protected. And maybe that protection wasn't from the world, but from the past itself. In the end, it's not about who wears the crown, it's about who still holds the heart. For years, royal watchers asked the same question. Why doesn't Camilla wear Diana's jewelry? The public speculated. The media stirred theories. But behind the palace gates, the answer was always hidden in plain sight. It wasn't about ownership. Many of Diana's pieces are part of the royal collection. It wasn't about access. Camilla has worn countless heirlooms before. It was about memory, emotion, and the one truth Camilla has lived with from the beginning. You can't rewrite history, and you can't outshine a ghost. Every necklace Diana wore carried meaning. Every bracelet reminded the world of love, heartbreak, and independence. To wear them now would be to invite comparison. And comparison is a battle Camilla never wanted to fight. Maybe she avoided them out of guilt. Maybe out of fear. Or maybe out of a quiet respect that only those closest to the pain could ever understand. In the end, Camilla wears her own path, one without Diana's sparkle, but also without her shadow. And perhaps that was the choice all along. The crown may belong to Camilla, but the jewels? Those will always whisper the name Diana. Stay tuned, because in the world of royalty, the past is never truly in the past.